Hey sister friends, it's Terri from Sisterhood of the Traveling Brush, and today we're getting ready to start on this project. And I don't know if you know how I got my name. It's because I love to travel and I love to paint, and I love to travel and paint. But I was going to travel to Georgia for this client and paint her nightstands for her. But what we ended up doing, because of all the travel restrictions and all that right now, is she ordered these on Amazon. They're Ash Signature, designed by Ashley, and had them shipped to me here. And I'm going to paint them and then send them back. She's the same person that bought the buffet that I'm working on right now. And I wish I had taken this hardware off before I started the video. Let's see what I can do while I talk. Now that I can't travel as much to do the painting yet, I mean, I think it'll get better. You can always send it here. The design that she picked out is one by Brandy Collenborn of Brushed by Brandy. She's a Dixie Belle ambassador, brand ambassador. She sent me a picture of it and I'm like, oh, I know her, that's Brandy. Like we're like we're good friends or something. But we did meet at the conference year before last, when Dixie Belle could still have a conference. On the thing that she sent me, it said easy to assemble. And she messaged me and she's like, you know, is this okay? And I'm like, well, we'll figure it out. And when they got here, all they needed was the feet put on them. Even this hardware was on them already. This was Brandy's piece, and that's what we're gonna be kind of trying to mimic. And hopefully Brandy will like it. And the tops are gonna remain brown on this, so we're just gonna paint, you know, from here down. I just grabbed a couple of handfuls of paint brushes. I have a couple of mini angles, a regular mini, a oval medium, and a flat large. The colors used are deep purple, Aubergine, Plum Crazy. It's one of my favorite colors. I haven't opened a new one. I don't know where my other one's at. Antebellum Blue, Palmetto, and Blueberry. And this will be my first time using the Sapphire Pearl Glaze. So that'll go on at the end to give it just a little bit of, I guess, a little bit of something extra, a little bit of extra something. These are already cleaned with White Lightning, which should be enough. It's not a real slick finish or anything, so the paint should stick to these very well. I'm going to start out with my mini angle, and we're going to be putting our Plum Crazy here, our Aubergine here. That's why I kind of have them set up to where I'll remember where I want to put everything, so whenever I get going I'll be in a good place. There's just a tad of blueberry in this bottom corner. Then there's a blend between the Antebellum Blue and the Palmetto, and then farther at the top there's a blend between the Antebellum Blue and the Aubergine. So right now we're just going to be putting paint on to get that first coat on and deciding on the placement of the paint. So I'm most excited to use the Plum Crazy. Get some on. I'll come back later and get the inside of the drawers and all that. Go with the blueberry down on the other side. Let's grab a mini. So this is going to go on the opposite corner from the Plum Crazy. Feet and everything. A lot of this won't show in the end, but we're putting it anyway. To be careful because I'm getting pretty close to the hardware, but we would come in next to the Palmetto. I'm not touching them yet because I don't want to drag any of the blueberry quite yet. Now I'm going to try to blend back and forth just a tad. Like it's too wet right there. I'm going to just use this dry brush that I'm about to use for the aubergine paint to mop some of that up. Blend the sides separately. We're just working on the fronts right now. Really, I think that's it for the first coat on the fronts. And I'm going to let that dry so I don't screw it up before I turn it around to do the sides, which will be a lot easier. And I'll just probably do the aubergine coming into the Antebellum blue on both sides. I'm not going to try to do entire areas and do this one and that one at the same time now like I did on the first coats when I was sort of just marking out where I wanted my paint to be and making sure that I liked it. This time I'm going to put a little, blend a little, put a little, blend a little, so that when I'm done with this front, I'm done with this front, and then I'll do the sides. We're not going to do the top on here. So I'm going to be using very, very little blueberry, so I don't want to put one of my favorite brushes in there. But this, you always need to stir your paint and make sure all of the ingredients are equally dispersed to get the best results. And I let these craft sticks dry and just use them again. So let's grab another little mini here and let's get some blueberry on there. Try to go ahead and get all the way around this part of the leg. We'll change that over there. And the blueberry comes up just a little bit through here. Just a little bit to give it just a little bit of glow through there that you kind of don't understand where it's coming from. That's going to be the blueberry mixing into the, or blending in with the Palmetto. Today I have my misting bottle ready to go. Plenty of water in my bucket here. And my Scarlet brush, I'll show you that in a minute if you're not familiar with it, which I will keep separate for just using for the blending part. Spread that out a little. I want to keep it damp, so I'm going to mist it. Then I'm going to grab some Palmetto and come in from the top. Start getting that in. I'm being kind of careful. That's why I'm using the angle on this, is to not get it on the top part, because we're not going to paint that part. We're not trying to get all the Palmetto on right here, but I want to go ahead and come down with it, and I'll put more in the higher areas later because we'll be blending with the Antebellum blue up there. Just wanted to get a little bit more on here. Come down, not quite all the way to the blueberry. What I'm doing is just getting wet paint on here. Okay, I'm right up on it now, but what I'm going to do is go with a third brush. This one doesn't have any paint on it. And try to bring a little of that down, and a little of that up, and a little of that down, and a little of that up. Missed it and worked it. I'm wanting the Palmetto to take over most of the blueberry and give us sort of a third color in the mixture. Come back with a little more Palmetto. I don't want to go over too far because we'll be mixing the Palmetto with the Antebellum blue here shortly. Keeping it wet's the answer, the key, the answer key. Just a little bit of Palmetto going down on that foot and down in this corner. I'm a little bit heavy-handed, so I'm trying to lighten up my hand here just a little. Pull that Palmetto down into that blueberry. It makes a gorgeous color. I think we should almost create a piece just in that blended color. Just concentrating on where the Antebellum blue meets the Palmetto, which is kind of a green, because we're going to come back and put the Plum Crazy and the Aubergine into the Antebellum blue as well. I want it more blue to green. That's why I'm pulling from the blue side to the green side. I'm just getting a little bit of paint at a time because I don't want, you know, the paint to be dripping later or any of that stuff. It's almost like, not iridescent, what do you call it when you can turn something this way and you see a little bit of blue, or you turn it this way and you see a little purple or green or whatever? Almost that kind of look to the areas that have the depth and different colors. Now I'm going to put the Plum Crazy in real quick, and then Antebellum blue around that, and then we'll come back to the Aubergine. This isn't a real prominent color, but it being here is very important to the finished look. crevice is really good, so the sort of the muted version of this is what really pops through. Okay, while that's still damp, I need to hurry up and grab the aubergine, the purple that we're coming from the side with. Using my flat large for this one, but I'm going to dampen it just a tad. Freshen up the Antebellum blue right at the edge of that, especially right here, because I want this to be deeper. If you have questions and I'm missing them because my back is to you, I apologize. Just put them down below or DM them to me, and I will answer them after. Very happily with a smile, I will. I'm also misting this because I really don't want, you know, much in the way of brush strokes and stuff coming through here. So I'm trying to smooth those out. I will come back later because I feel like this part is drying a little bit too fast. I didn't mist enough through there for as hot as it is in there, so I would like a little bit more blending through here, but I'm afraid to drag back over that right now. So that will be next. We're going just under the top part here, and we're going to leave the top brown. The majority of this is going to be the aubergine. The whole rest of the front and where it meets there is going to be the Antebellum blue, and we're going to put just a tad of the blueberry here in the bottom just to give it just a little bit of color. We're going to keep using the misting bottle to keep the paint wet while we're doing that, and just kind of blend it in and see what we can get. So the glaze is Sapphire Pearl, and I've dampened my brush. I've already done the side of this, but this is almost, I don't know, it's almost like a pudding-like consistency. It's thicker than paint, but in a different kind of way, and it has a little bit of a pearl to it. And my brush is damp, and I have beside me some lint-free cloths, but I also just have a regular dishcloth. And so we're just going to start at the top and come down. Just get a little bit on your damp brush. You can do this with a sponge, chip brush, whatever you want. I'm using the Dixie Belle Mini Angle, which is my favorite brush, so we're going to do it first. And I'm going to just do small areas at a time and then wipe back, not do the whole thing, to make sure that it will wipe back evenly. I think I'll get this very top area here and maybe these two decorative embellishments here. I'm gonna get it in there really good, but I'm trying to keep the strokes straight as well. Just getting a little bit on there at a time. And these are gonna be the areas where, you know, the light will catch it. I'm gonna go ahead and do this little strip right here. And then I'm going to wipe it back. So you use this piece of my old nightgown. You can use a piece of an old t-shirt. You can buy a lint-free cloth. Whatever you want to do, this is what I have available. Looks like 2 drawers, but it's actually 1. So I'm gonna get that one. Let's get it in these details first. I want to work a little bit fast because we're letting it dry just a tad before we wipe it off, but you don't want it to dry very much because then it's not going to wipe off as easily. You would use this same method if you were doing a wash or a glaze. If you wanted to make your own, you could use, so it would be a different color. You could use Dixie Belle satin top coat and then add a tablespoon or so of whatever color you wanted your glaze to be to that, and then paint it on and do it in this same fashion, and then you've made your own glaze. I do have a video on that if you want to check it out, but that's on mostly making a wash. I tend to use washes more than I use glazes, and to do the wash you take the Dixie Belle paint and add 50-50 or more depending on if you want it lighter or how you want it, but I usually do about 50-50 with water and paint, and then use it just like a glaze, but really it's called a wash. But that's how you can get some of that aged look on there. You can do that with a navy blue or a brown or a gray, whatever you want to do, and you just mix it with the water. Or if you wanted a glaze like this, you don't have to, let me tell you this too, if you put the glaze on, you don't have to top coat after that. So this glaze could be your only top coat, and you don't have to come back with this for a clear coat. You don't have to clear coat Dixie Belle paint anyways, but a lot of us do just to, give it some extra strength. But the glaze works as a top coat. So this could be your sealing method. I'm keeping all these brush strokes in the same direction as the wood grain would be. So even if you put some on to begin with, every different direction, you can still come back and with your brush and make sure that it's all how you want it. You can get the majority of it off this way while it's still wet. Maybe it's just started to dry, it's not tacky yet, and you can do this in the other direction if you want, as long as you come back at the end in that same direction. Okay, so I hope that was helpful to you, and if you have any questions about glazing or washing or anything in this realm or anything else, just let me know in the comments box, and I will see you in the next video. Make sure and subscribe, and I will see you in a couple of days. Thanks. Bye.